I never thought I would get attacked like this. And I also never thought I'd get old. I never thought I'd get married. I never thought I'd have kids. I never thought I'd ever get a divorce if I did get married. There are lots of things I never thought would happen. And I certainly never thought that I'd have to explain to my school-aged daughters about an assassination attempt on a president or former president in my lifetime. And not only did I have to talk about it once, I had to talk about it twice. I never thought America would be this divided. I never thought Americans, friends, neighbors, families, neighborhoods, communities, the population would be as divided as they are. I just never considered that Americans would hate America. It never ever occurred to me. I simply never thought any of that was possible. And so, putting politics aside completely, I certainly didn't think I'd be attacked and called a racist because I shared an opinion that I'm happy that God blessed, or the angels in heaven blessed, Donald Trump, not once, but twice. And if being called a racist or a communist or a terrorist or a right-wing hate monger is what I'm going to be called because I prayed for and continue to pray for everyone who is running our country or going to run our country or an enemy of our country or anyone in our country, if saying something like God bless America is now un-American, well then I guess I'm guilty of whatever it is you want me to be guilty of. Hello friends, you're watching Chris Uncensored, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that happened recently, and I was surprised by it because I really did not expect to be attacked this way. And I'm very aware of my audience. I'm very aware of the business that I'm in. And while this channel is me uncensored, I've got other platforms and channels in which I'm very deliberate about sharing whatever my political opinions might be, because I don't want to do a Taylor Swift and alienate half my audience. That would be a bad business practice. But on another account, on a different social media platform, I did share a post. And while the post I shared wasn't meant to be political, it was meant to share an opinion that I hope God blesses America and continues to bless good over evil. And I'm well aware that all of that is subjective to some people. And nowhere did I mention anybody by name. I simply wrote, God bless America. And I'm going to share the post so that you can see it and draw your own opinion. And if you think I'm racist, please let me know. I don't care, but I'm interested. But I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't a little bit surprised when I got a private message from someone who didn't have the balls to leave it publicly and didn't have the balls to call me and say something directly to me, and certainly didn't meet me in person to tell me what he thought. The reality is this was some stranger who follows me because evidently, to some people, I've got influence in other places. And so I suspect that's why he followed me in the first place. He went on to say, dude, your angels are racist. I guess you support attacking immigrants about eating dogs. All respect lost. And nowhere in my post did I mention anything about any of those things because they had nothing to do with how I feel or what I posted. I definitely was not going to let some stranger that I don't know but evidently follows me have any impact on my emotions or give him any type of power to make me feel a certain type of way over his misinterpretation of what I posted. So it only took about a second for me to respond and write, thanks for sharing. I applaud and celebrate your ability to exercise your freedom of speech. God bless you, us, and America. Heart emoji and heart fist bump. And I probably wouldn't have carried on any further and made this video, except he then proceeded to continue on his downward spiral of incorrect assumptions, which confirmed what I already knew to be true, which is that he's a moron and hasn't done any actual research around things he thinks are true. But he did send me his rebuttal, which is not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them decided racism is not a deal breaker. And yes, I know that the big, white, strong, American citizen who's wearing a Trump hat is obviously a racist and a horrible person and a despicable human being, because everyone knows that's true, right? And everybody knows that each individual human being should be judged by the content of their character, not their skin color. Everyone should always be lumped into the same category at all times. But according to him in his rebuttal, not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them have decided racism is not a deal breaker, supported by the following debunked facts, which is Mexican immigrants. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, which I don't know who he's attributing this statement to be from, because it doesn't say, but somebody said that in 2015. And in case you didn't know, and you haven't done any research, it's actually factually true. There are some illegal Mexican immigrants that are bringing drugs, bringing crime, and raping American citizens. Unfortunately, he left one out. They're also murdering them too. And no, not all Mexican immigrants are doing that, but many are. And I don't know why he limited himself to Mexican immigrants, because it's not just Mexican immigrants, it's immigrants, illegal immigrants, from all over the world invading our country, mostly from the southern border, of which Kamala Harris was the border czar. So, Edwin, before you go forming an opinion about words that I never said, or thoughts that I've never expressed, I'll just go ahead and make it easy for you and demystify your confusion. Racism has nothing to do with anything that I believe, but stupidity has everything to do with what I believe. I don't believe in stupid policies that are proven to hurt our country and hurt American citizens just like both of us. But then he goes on to say another example of why not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them decided racism is not a deal breaker. His next example is shithole countries, which, according to this, is in reference to Haiti, El Salvador, and African nations as, quote unquote, shithole countries, end quote, which somebody allegedly said in 2018. Again, it makes no reference of who or where or what or why, but this is his proof of racism. And Edwin, as far as shithole countries are concerned, I don't think it's fair to lump everybody into a shithole country label, because shithole country would be a subjective opinion. And full disclosure, I haven't been to Haiti, I haven't been to El Salvador, and I've never been to Africa, which obviously qualifies me as a racist, but I have traveled pretty extensively internationally, and I have visited many countries in South America, and I can tell you, many of the places that I visited have spots that I would describe as being a shithole, and I would never want to live there. But I don't believe that makes me a racist. Maybe it makes me a classist, but I don't believe that's true either. It does mean that I have a preference as to where I live. And thankfully, in the United States, we have the freedom to live wherever we'd like to within the United States. But, Edwin, in case you haven't noticed, many of the people who live in shithole countries are invading our country and turning it into a shithole country. So I'm not exactly sure what your point in this post is, or your response is, but don't worry. Coming soon, America will be a shithole country, and in many places, it already is.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to shit over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Which takes me to the number 3 point in his assertion that not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them decided racism is not a deal breaker. And his third supporting bullet point is, although there are no bullet points because this is just sloppy and lazy work, which I don't even believe he did on his own, he found somewhere. But the third assertion is a Muslim ban. And honestly, these are so stupid and so undefined and unsourced, I kind of feel like an idiot that I'm even rebuttaling this, but it's fun, so I'm going to anyway. But it's not attributed to anybody, and there's certainly no timestamp or source to be able to attribute this to, but I'll assume, I think I know who he's talking about. But it goes on to say, total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States, which allegedly was in 2015, according to the parentheses. Honestly, Edwin, I don't even know how to respond to this because it's so stupid, but I'll go a step further and not call for a Muslim ban. How about we just call for a complete and total ban from all illegal entrants into our country? And if you don't agree with that, well then, I'm not gonna call you a racist, I'll just tell you what you are. Stupid. But now that we've covered that, let's go to number 4, which, according to him, is the Central Park 5, which called for the death penalty for wrongfully convicted Black and Latino teens, maintained their guilt even after exoneration. Well, Edwin, I don't know if you were alive back when the Central Park 5 thing happened, but I was, and at the time I lived quite close to it. And because this reference point or accusation, and whomever you plagiarized this from, I don't know how to respond to it because it's so poorly worded. But let me just clear the air in case there's some confusion in your very slow, disconnected brain. I don't support the wrongful conviction of anybody, whether they're Black, Latino, green, purple, polka dot, red, orange, or Indian, which I just recently learned is what Kamala is, when it's convenient for her. But I absolutely support the death penalty for any rapist or murderer that did whatever bad deed they did. And I'll take it a step further. I'm biblical. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And a YouTube video from any idiot who responds the way you did. And then finally, the 5th reason why not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them decided racism is not a deal breaker, which of course is Charlottesville. And again, there's no source for any of this information or context or timestamp that makes any sense, but it goes on to say, very fine people on both sides, after a white supremacist rally back in 2017. And Edwin, I'm sure you were in Charlottesville when this happened, so you were boots on the ground and definitely know what it was like back then, but I've got a friend who lives there, in one of the historic homes next to where all of this stuff happened, who was terrified for his life, for his family, for his children, for his business, and got to hear firsthand in real time about the pain, suffering, and fear of the unknown that he was experiencing with his family. And I'm sure he's a racist too, but I also know that he employs about 100 people locally in that community of all different races and ethnicities and religions. But if this is your whammy as to why not all Trump supporters are racist, but all of them decided that racism is not a deal breaker, I would encourage you to do a little bit of research, because that assertion on Charlottesville attributed to Trump is not accurate, period. Go look it up, moron. It was used out of context as part of the propaganda machine to make you feel a certain kind of way about me and other people and him. And thanks to that idiocracy, I now get to explain to my children twice about the cruel reality that we currently live in, where people are trying to shoot presidential candidates. And while I did not respond to this idiotic comment that he left, he then closed with what I assume is an olive branch or an extension of peace by leaving the thumbs up symbol. I'll go ahead and leave the thumbs up back. Oh, wrong finger. Up, wrong finger. Up, wrong finger. Evidently, some Trump supporters don't have an opposable thumb that works. But it's obviously true. And just when I thought there was no more hope and that no one would ever change their opinion who has Trump deranged syndrome, out comes Chris Cuomo, who probably suffered from the most Trump deranged syndrome, which makes me think for the first time in a long time that Jesse Jackson was right, and we should keep hope alive.
I don't get it. That's why I reached out to Trump. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on and it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job, and he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this. A guy pointing an AK-47 at him while he's playing golf? And we take solace in the fact that the guy didn't get any rounds off. If I had been through what that guy's been through in the last 2 months, you would not know where I am. You would never see me on TV again. No way I would do that. I don't know how he does it. He's got kids, they're adults, but he's got grandkids. He's got a wife. People giving crap to Melania Trump, worrying about whether or not there was a plot around his husband. How could she not? People mock her. And then her husband has a guy pointed with an AK-47. Where are those people apologizing? That's what it's time for. We are playing a dangerous game with ourselves. He is not a despot in waiting, okay? I don't buy it. You gotta care when somebody tries to kill somebody. I've told you this before, and I've learned the lesson so many times myself around the world. Either you care when anyone is hurt, or you'll never really care about anyone being hurt.
And truthfully, there are a million other things I'd like to say, but this would turn into a 5-hour video, and I respect your time, and I'll never waste it. But someone once said something while running for president a long, long time ago, before you were born, Edwin, which is totally relevant, timely, and applicable now. So please put your hate guns back into your holster and just ask yourself the following questions and vote accordingly.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? And if you answer all of those questions yes, why then I think your choice is very obvious as to who you'll vote for. If you don't agree, if you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.